Okay, so first of all, thank you again, Farnaz, for joining us today. I'm so excited for you to talk about your program. I have long been a fan of the American Cancer Society, and I think that your program that you're doing really exemplifies the vision of being able to support more entrepreneurs, being able to be in more equitable positions to enter entrepreneurship. Oftentimes we say, like, there's lots of opportunity and access, but particularly in the bioscience space, there's a lot of capital and resource gaps to being able to commercialize a lot of the research that's being done. And so I'm just really thrilled that you and your team have put together a program. I can't wait to hear more about it. As people are listening, if you have questions and you want to put it in chat, please do that. And then after Farnaz is done, or I can, if it's like pertinent to what Farnaz is saying at that moment, I can interject and ask that question.
So thank you so much for the introduction. And thank you so much for the opportunity to do this Q&A, and I'm so glad it's being recorded. So if anyone has any questions, they can watch that, or feel free to email me directly with any questions or concerns. So maybe I'll just jump right into the program. So the program for you guys, it's the BrightEdge Entrepreneurs program. So actually, let me back up and just say the American Cancer Society, I think, is very well known for all of the investing we do in early stage oncology companies. So we're, the highest non-governmental funder of cancer research. We've granted billions of dollars, non-dilutive granting across 1,100 institutions, over 25,000 grantees across the U.S. So we're really well known for that. I think one thing that is new to ACS that we haven't done until a few years ago is we have launched our impact investment arm. And so BrightEdge invests in early stage oncology companies. Now, within BrightEdge, we recognize that there's this big gap between where folks get their NCI, their ACS, their NIH granting, and when they're ready for BrightEdge or other VC sort of funding. And so my goal as the Director of Innovation at ACS BrightEdge is to bridge this gap. And we want to bridge this gap in a geographically agnostic way. And so our program is open to anyone in the United States. And really, as long as your technology is oncology focused, we'd love to hear from you. And so we launched the program called the BrightEdge Entrepreneurs program to really help bridge this gap, this valley of death that's really sort of well known in the field. And so the program has many different aspects to it that help bridge this gap. So applications are open now, so please apply, and they'll close in mid-November. Winners will be selected in December, and the program will officially kick off in February of 2024. So we're going to select anywhere from 6 to 8 entrepreneurs that have a really cool technology. You want to move it out of the lab. Maybe you've just moved it out of the lab. You have a team of a couple of people. You haven't fundraised a bunch. I will say here, we initially had a $1 million fundraising cap, but we've recently removed that. And so, this isn't going to work for someone that's raised $50 million, but we recognize some people may have raised $2 million, $3 million, and really could still use this program. And so we've removed the cap, the fundraising cap, so, please apply. And so the program will start, there'll be an educational component. So every month, there'll be 1 hour Zoom meeting where we'll have an expert come in and talk about, go-to-market strategy, intellectual property, how to put together a pitch deck, how to bring on a team, really all of the things that entrepreneurs will need to really grow their companies. So there'll be the educational component aspect of it. And I should mention, the program runs 10 months, so from February to November of 2024. So every month we'll have the educational component. They'll be following the presentation, it'll be open to Q&A, and you'll also, in addition to the educational component, have access to the ACS KOL network and our grantees, and our mentors. And so we are putting together a list of mentors that can really help entrepreneurs in a whole host of areas. And so we're not going to pair you with one mentor, but you'll have access to all of the mentors. And so if one week you have a question around your IP, we'll pair you, you can reach out to that mentor. If the next week you have a question on, whatever it is, FDA regulation, we'll pair you with that mentor. And so you'll have the educational component, you'll have the opportunity for one-on-one mentorship. And then in the summer months, we'll sort of do a pause on the educational components, and we'll really focus on your pitch deck. So you'll meet with the BrightEdge team and others to really help your pitch deck. And then the program culminates, and I think there's two big highlights to it, and this is one of them. It culminates in November of 2024 with an in-person pitch event. And so this will give you an opportunity to pitch not only to BrightEdge, but other VCs in the area, our other colleagues. So we're going to get them all in the room, and you're going to have an opportunity to pitch to them. I think this is really great because it's really hard for first-time entrepreneurs to get warm leads and contacts to VCs, right? And so this is really, I think, going to be huge for first-time entrepreneurs to have this access to the VCs in the space. And the second thing, which I probably should have led with, is every winner or every participant in the program receives a $100,000 safe investment into their company. And so, the 100,000 is really just to get you through the program. So you have enough funding to kind of get through the program, grow your company. And then the hope is that in the November 24 pitch event, this will be a much sort of more robust opportunity for you to get, for you to do your fundraising. So maybe I will pause there. And if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
So as people are asking questions in the chat, I will start to surface some of those questions. So one is around that 100K safe note. Are there restrictions on the ways that it can be used if it's an investment into the company?
No, there's no restrictions.
And so it can be used for like personal, expenses and being able to keep afloat during the program.
Absolutely. Yeah, we recognize. I mean, you also have to, if you're the CEO, you have to pay yourself. You have bills to pay. We get that. So yeah, no, there's no restrictions on how you use the funds. Really, the purpose of it is to get you through the program. And so, however you need to do that to sort of survive the 10 months before you get in front of all these VCs and have an opportunity to really do some fundraising, where it's very flexible.
That is amazing. And we don't see that a lot when it comes to investable cash. So that is great and really contributing to being able to bridge the gap at the very, very early stages. So very exciting. The next question is around the education sessions. What cadence will those happen? Are they all virtual? Will it be different speakers with different topics? And what type of topics do you hope to be able to preview?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a different speaker every month, a different topic every month. It'll be for about an hour and a half, once a month. They will be fully virtual. We are planning to do two in-person events. So one will hopefully be during the ACR conference in San Diego in April of 2024. And the second in-person event will be the November 2024 pitch event, which will be in Boston. So those will be really our only two in-person events. And I would say the November 2024 one would really be the mandatory one. I mean, I would hope that would be the one you'd really want to attend if you can't attend the ACR or can't attend that in-person event that we're having. But those are the only two in person. The rest are fully virtual. Like I mentioned, educational seminars are once a month for about an hour and a half, 30 to 45 minutes of presentation, about 45 minutes of Q&A. We really want to give you guys plenty of time to sort of ask your questions and get in front of these experts. And the topics are wide ranging. So IP, how to negotiate a license, how to put together a team, how to put together a pitch deck, how to fundraise, really things that we think would be helpful for first or second time early entrepreneurs to learn. Now, I will add, if, we have the program all mapped out, but let's say our 6 to 8 cohort begins, and in January or February, we get feedback that we don't see X on the schedule, and really we think X would be really valuable. We're happy to be flexible. We're happy to reach out to our network, happy to reach out to a KOL network and bring in the speaker to talk about, what is really important to you if we don't already have it planned. And so because this is the first time we're doing it, we have a lot of flexibility around it. And really the goal is to help our 6 to 8 entrepreneurs, have successful companies. And so whatever we can do to get to that point, we're happy to be flexible.
Amazing. Okay. And I am typing ferociously in the chat here. And so
Okay.
taking down the notes that you're saying so that people can hear as well. One comment on, sorry, my dog's in the background. One just like comment on the prior question around that 100K. And then you mentioned there was a couple in-person opportunities at the San Diego conference and the November BrightEdge conference. Should founders budget some of that 100K for those travel expenses?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely. And if budget is tight, I would say if you had to pick, obviously the November 24 event would be the one I would use the budget for. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, perfect. You can use it for travel.
Okay, excellent. And then next question is around, do you have a focus on a specific type of cancer that you would like your participants to be focusing on?
No. At ACS, we are cancer agnostic. We want to end all cancers for all. And so, no, absolutely not. I think as long as it's in the cancer space, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to learn about your technology.
And are there, like, to add on to that question, are there specific business models that you're prioritizing? Like, like when it comes to like B2B versus B2C, I know sometimes in the bioscience space, it can be difficult to go B2C because of all the regulatory hurdles, but are there certain types of business models that you've seen maybe are more compatible to work with?
No, we really, we're open to anything and everything at this stage right now, at this being our pilot round of doing the BrightEdge Entrepreneurs program. We are not putting any restrictions on that. I think if it's a great technology and a great team, we'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. Okay. And you did have a couple different verticals like that you had mentioned in even in the post. Could you elaborate on like how you would define each of those 4 verticals? And I can pull that up for Naz from the post if you'd like.
That would be great because I don't remember.
Yeah, no problem.
But I think, I will just say, I would say if you walk away with anything, I hope you walk away with the fact that because this is a pilot and this is the first time we're launching this program, we're going to be very flexible and very open. And so if you have a technology that you've either spun out or you're thinking of spinning out, reach out. I'm happy to set up a one-on-one call. We can go in depth into your technology, your therapeutic area, diagnostic, whatever it is. And really happy to have those conversations. And so I would encourage you to reach out to me. Let's set up a call. Let's chat. Because there's very few things that are like clear no's, right? Clear no's are, it's not cancer focused. That's a clear no. Or, you've had a $50 million Series B. So there's a few clear no's, but really we want to help entrepreneurs. We want to help you get your technology out of the lab and into the hands of patients as quickly as possible. And so I would encourage you to reach out. Let's schedule a call. And, happy to talk about your technology.
And then on that note, I'm putting in the chat, like the general description, and this is pretty broad. But if you, Farnaz, wanted to just like give any more clarity on like these 4 elements, I'm putting it in the chat. It was therapeutics, diagnostic, medical devices, and digital health innovations. And Farnaz just put a file that will share more information, but if you want to talk a little bit more about any of those four and how you might define them, that might be helpful.
I think as long as your technology touches the cancer space, we'd really love to learn about it. And so, we put these out there: therapeutic, diagnostic, device, digital health. Is really broadly to cover as many technologies as we could. And so, really, I would just encourage you to not be sort of bogged down by this. If you think, gosh, I don't know where exactly mine fits into this, maybe this won't work, reach out, let's have a conversation about it. As long as it's cancer focused, would love to learn more.
Excellent. And I know applications are already open and the application deadline. So I'll put in the chat the important dates.
Thank you. So I would just say, our website, acsbrightedge.org, if you go there, right on the homepage, there's apply to the BrightEdge Entrepreneurs program. And there's 2 tabs you can click: one to learn more, which links to the PDF that I shared, and then one to apply now. The application, we try to keep it really simple. It's a Word file. We ask you a couple of questions. You upload, you send us that in addition to your non-confidential pitch deck. And like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm happy to set up a one-on-one call with you to sort of walk through your application, walk through your pitch deck, answer any concerns you might have. But we try to keep it really, really simple for this round. Like I said, this is really a pilot for us, the first time we're doing it. So we're trying to be flexible.
Perfect. I have another question here around the application itself. And so this felt like a good time to bring that up. What documents should founders consider having ready when they apply? So you mentioned the pitch deck. Are there other things that founders should consider or work on while they're applying, before they apply?
No, I mean, I think the application is pretty simple and self-explanatory. The pitch deck is really the only thing you need to have, and that you need to have done before you consider applying. But yeah, just there's a few questions. Happy to run through them if that would be helpful. And then just a pitch deck. So initially, we have some questions around whether you've received funding from ACS. It's a plus if you have at some point, or someone on your team at some point has received funding from ACS. But if you haven't, I would still encourage you to apply. A brief statement on your interest. Why are you interested? Again, something like, I'm a first, second, third time entrepreneur. I think there's a lot I can learn from this program. Things like that. Very simple, 200 words. And then a brief description of your technology, 500 words or less. And then just a couple of sort of non-confidential data slides, and so or data points. And so this could be a link to a paper that's been published that really sort of shows the data, a couple of published figures, sort of very simple. The next question is around intellectual property. And so really we want to know, has your institution, has it filed IP? Are you in talks to negotiate the IP with them, negotiate an option, for the IP, or a license for the IP? Those are kinds of the things we're looking for on that. The next question 6, is around your leadership team and strategic partnerships. And so I think it's perfectly okay to say, I'm the postdoc that did this work in the lab. I'm going to be the CEO. Don't have a team yet, but would love the support of the team. Or I've spun this out, but the PI in the lab, they're going to be part of the team, part of the scientific founder team, and so they would offer a lot of support. I mean, we understand that you're not going to have a fully fledged team, is what I'll say here. Next is a patient impact statement. This is a breast cancer treatment. It would help X millions of people, something like that. Is there potential platform potential? Could your technology be a platform? Last question is around funding sources. So what sort of funding have you had around this technology? Have you received SBI or STTR funding around this? Just NIH funding, NCI, just helpful to understand sort of the funding that you've received. And then the last question is just a PDF of 10 slides, which is your non-confidential slide deck. And that's it. You submit that with your slide deck, and we'll let you know by mid-December who's been selected for the program.
Excellent. And if it's helpful for anyone, we just put together a Google Doc that has all of the questions. If you follow that link, it'll give you a download that I also put here in chat. But if it's helpful to you all to just start thinking about, like, you can, make a copy, and then you can start typing in your narrative questions. It has the word limits on there as well, so that you can start thinking about that even before you do the application. So this is a view only document, so you will have to make a copy to make any personal changes.
It's also on the website. So if you go to our website, acsbrightedge.org, go to the apply now, it also opens up there for you as well. So.
And if you look in the chat right above that Google Doc link, I did throw in the Word document that it directs you to from that website.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Just as a reminder, I did put in the chat some of those really important dates. And so one of the most important dates is upcoming. It's on November 17th, which is when the application deadline or the applications will be closed. One of the questions for Naz was around the selection, and if you can shed any light on who will be making those selections, how those selections will be made, and what that process might look like.
Yeah, great question. So the selection committee is really going to be internal to BrightEdge. So it'll just be the BrightEdge team internally. Like I mentioned, we do have an extensive KOL network. And so if there's a technology you're working on that maybe none of us have an expert, none of us are true experts on in the field, we're going to reach out to the KOL network, have them sort of review the science and give us their feedback on that. But really, it's the science is going to be really important, and we'll lean on our KOL network for that. The business plan, that'll be internally kind of how you're thinking of commercializing your technology, and the team. The team is really important here, and how motivated you are to commercialize your technology. But it's a small review committee. It's going to be really just internal to BrightEdge, like I said, and we're going to just reach out to our KOL network for specific questions around science, but really the decision will be made internally by the BrightEdge team, myself and my colleagues.
We had another question around, for those who may be selected, how many team members can attend? And I'm assuming this means to the virtual sessions, and perhaps maybe also the in-person opportunities.
That's a great question. And to be frank with you, I don't think we've sort of thought about how many can and can't attend. I think the virtual session is really open to a large part of the team. We understand that, learning certain things would be important to multiple team members. And so we don't want to, prevent that from happening. I'm assuming there'll be a limit if you have like 100 people that want to attend. Clearly that's not going to be possible, but again, happy to chat. We haven't sort of set a number that there can only be 2, or it can only be 3, or only 5. I think the in-person event, as many as you think are needed to sort of pitch your technology. If you're not the scientific expert, you need that person there. If you're not the business expert, you need that person there. Like, whatever you need to sort of successfully pitch your tech, I would say they should be there.
And I know that some folks have gotten on after Farnaz started speaking. So just as like a refresher, and this is in the chat as well, the education sessions are an hour and a half monthly, and they span in topics ranging from the commercialization portion, forming the business, as well as like preparing you for that pitch event that you'll get to pitch to not only the BrightEdge team, but VCs and other funders in the ecosystem.
Yep. Yeah, I encourage you to apply and reach out if you have any questions. Actually, let me put my email address in the chat. If you don't have it, feel free to message me. Happy to set up a call.
The other thing that I just wanted to reiterate, just for folks that jumped on the call a little bit later, which I think is really incredibly important to being able to bridge the gap at the early stage, is Farnaz shared that the 6 to 8 entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurial teams that are selected receive 100K in funding that goes into your company as a safe, but it doesn't have restrictions on how it can be used and is intended to be able to support the founder or the founding team in the year that you're going through the 10-month program with BrightEdge. And so I just wanted to reiterate that again, just because it is a phenomenal opportunity and something that is so rare. We, as you know, we operate in this space. We very much work closely with pre-seed and seed companies, and we do not find programs like this where there's unrestricted funding opportunities that help the founder or the founding team stay afloat, particularly in those early stages, and the ability to even use that to then attend the in-person travel where there's like the recommended San Diego conference, and then there's the pitch to be able to pitch to BrightEdge and other VC entrepreneurs or VC funders rather. Oftentimes what we find is that what we've been told is there's a gap there where we can't even attend. Not only can we don't have access to those funders and they're not in the room and we don't know how to get into that room, but two, it's like the cost to be able to actually get into that room. And so I think that's why we're just really excited that you all have thought really intentionally about how to support entrepreneurs throughout the program.
Thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. We saw a huge gap in this valley of death, and we wanted to help bridge it. So really proud of the program and just so happy to be here and have the opportunity to speak about it.
And then the other questions, I'm just trying to parse it here together, was around the mentorship network. So you had mentioned that folks will have the opportunity to have one-on-one sessions. They won't be paired with a mentor, but they will have access to many different types of mentors that they can make one-on-one sessions. So is it limited to one a week? And how does that work? Like, how will they find out about all the mentors and know what specialties they have?
Yeah, I mean, when the program starts, we'll share a list of the mentors and sort of a little bit of their background, their bio, and their areas of expertise. And we will help broker introductions. And so, we'll meet with the team and you'll say, I really I'm struggling. I don't understand how to license my technology from the university. So we'll put you in contact with someone that would be an expert in that field, and you can have those one-on-one conversations with them. And then, next month you might have a different concern. So that's really why we didn't want to pair you with one person and have you kind of not stuck, but really be with that person the entire time, because we recognize your needs are going to change from month to month as things come up. And so we want to give you the opportunity to really meet with the folks that you need to when you have, as those questions come up. We don't have a set limit as far as, you can only reach out to the mentor 2 times a month, 3 times a month, 4 times a month. But I think within reason, and we'll certainly help those conversations.
So that was really helpful. The other questions were around recognizing that only 6 to 8 participants will go through this first pilot program. Are there other resources to be able to access some of that mentor network or like access experts that you already potentially have outside the program? And are there other grant opportunities from ACS or BrightEdge?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Monday. Yes, actually. So ACS, not BrightEdge, but ACS proper, I think is thinking, I should say, of putting together grant programming, non-dilutive grant programming in place that could sort of bridge this gap. We do have our Mission Boost grants, and so I would encourage you to look at the ACS website. Those are meant to really help you commercialize technologies, but I think our CSO has been thinking of putting together other sort of grant programs as well in place, and I'll let them make those announcements as they come to fruition. But there's certainly that. Within BrightEdge, we also have, not only do we have BrightEdge that sort of makes investments into the company, just as the VC does, innovation also has a small amount of funding that we can give, around the 100-200K mark, again, to really help bridge that gap and help you move out. And so if you apply for the program, you're not selected, let's certainly have a conversation. There's a small bit of funding that we have available. We're also hoping to launch what's going to be known as the collaborative learning community. And this will be an opportunity for you to get access to things like those recordings after the fact. And so that'll be there. As far as the mentor network, I think reach out and let's have that conversation if you're not selected. Yeah, the collaborative learning community has not launched yet, but that's something we hope to launch as we create these recordings. So after the program starts.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So stay tuned. We recognize it's a huge gap, and we're trying to bridge it.
I think that I got through all the questions in the chat, Farnaz. Were there other things that you wanted to share? I know you paused for a minute. Yeah, I want to see if you have any other details.
Yeah, I would just say, so my email is in the chat. If you have any questions, reach out. I'm happy to set up a one-on-one call. If there is something you see in the application process that you think, oh gosh, I can't apply because of this, reach out. Let's have a conversation. Yeah, really, I want to end with, we are flexible, and if you have any questions, let's have a conversation. And thanks for applying.
Are there any other questions? Feel free to throw it in the chat, or feel free to unmute if you'd like to chat directly with Farnaz. I think we went through a lot of questions.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us and taking the time on this Monday. It's been lovely.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. I'm going to stop the recording, but again, in the chat, we have Farnaz's email. You all have Marquita and my email. So if there are any questions prior to the application deadline, please make sure that you are reaching out sooner rather than later to be able to get your questions answered. We're so excited to be able to see who gets into the program and to be able to continue supporting Farnaz and this incredible opportunity for early stage entrepreneurs. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.